Welcome in, everybody. It's your favorite movie podcast, the Cinema 9 Podcast, brought to you by someone? Maybe. So, I don't know.
Ricola.
Either. Ricola!
My man.
Anyways, it's great to be aboard. We're going to be doing American Gangster tonight. Does it hold up? The 2007 film directed by Ridley Scott, starring Denzel Washington in a powerhouse performance. Before we get to that, we got a lot of ground to cover. We got to talk about our quarantine viewing picks. We also have to remind you that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would be wonderful. Always welcome the 5-star review, guys. Thanks. Grab your friends' phones. Grab your kids' phones. Take your kids' phones to them. Go into their iTunes, their Apple Podcasts, and just put a review in real quick. It's a great way for us to grow our brand. Right, Travis?
Yeah. Commit identity fraud, and by all means, just plaster the airwaves or whatever the fuck they are with spreading the gospel of Cinema 9. Just following us would be nice. If click the follow button, that'd be cool. That's all.
My man.
That's all we ask, my man.
I'll tell you this, Travis. I learned from some pros in the game here in the podcast biz. That's what they really do. This one guy told me he'd go to parties that he'd be dragged to, birthday parties even, and he'd grab every phone at the party and just type a review for his podcast to expand the brand. And that was not the only time I heard that. I've heard that from several people.
I'm going to be honest with you. That sounds really empty to me. That sounds just like empty. Like we do this because it's fun. We're not like we enjoy it. It's our hobby. If millions of people are listening, if 5 people are listening, we're going to pretty much be the same either way. Like, I mean, as much as we appreciate and want the support, I can't imagine like being that fucking guy at a party being like, yeah, let me borrow your phone for a minute. All that I have going for me is my podcast.
Hey, well,
and reason will prevail.
Reason will prevail.
Reason doesn't prevail.
Sometimes.
Eric Brantrum, Griffith, Indiana. How you been, buddy?
I'm good. I totally support the idea. Grab everyone you know's phone. Check out their search history to see what the real story is, and then give us a 5-star review. Okay, it doesn't have to be a vacuous situation. Support this channel. Do whatever is possible. Break the law if you have to.
Yeah. See, now we're talking, dude. I like your style. Here on the 7-9 Podcast, we are always going to stay true to who we are. Sure, we've probably changed a few things over 71 plus episodes, but we are still the same people, Travis. And I think that's what's cool about our show. We're never going to change. Maybe that's bad. I mean, growth is healthy. There's nothing wrong with a little growth. But
This does seem like the episode to lean into our criminality.
yeah, it certainly does. We will definitely talk about crime and the truth in crime and movies that try to represent true stories. We're going to talk about that too later in the show when we cover American Gangster. Next week, by the way, we have a guest. We have a very special guest. His name is
special.
Aaron. He spells it E-R-O-N, though, so it's not like the classic Aaron. It's just Eron. It's different, but it's
when you think of him, visualize those letters instead of the other letters.
You got to. I've got to, mister. I believe Aaron will be a great guest. He's a funny dude. He's got a great sense of humor, and he doesn't mince words. So he's going to tell like it is. And at the end of the show, I will reveal the official movie. I have the selection in an envelope. PricewaterhouseCoopers has delivered the envelope live right here on the table. And at the end of the show, I will reveal it. And is there an 80% chance that it's a horror film of some type?
Absolutely.
Probably. Yeah.
And regular reviewers actually have been interacting with Aaron for some time, as he often appears as Chudpud in the comments and sending us letters and whatnot, which we appreciate.
And talked about the movie Chud itself last week.
Yes, he did.
That's like full circle. I don't know how we'll ever top that. That was a special moment where Chudpud talked about Chud.
Well, maybe we'll come on and talk about his pud. Well,
if he could put it all together, then maybe we'll just close down the podcast. That's it.
Talk Bud?
Full circle.
Top 5 puddles in a film?
My man.
I know. So I was looking to see if we got any emails recently, and I don't believe we have. There's a lot of bullshit emails that have come through, but nobody has checked in recently. So if you still want to email the show, cinema9pod@protonmail.com is the easy way to do it. And that's it. All right, quarantine viewing picks. Travis Roy, you're on the board as always first. You are the center square, taking control here. You are the Charles Nelson Riley of this show.
Can I be the Rip Taylor? Let's see. I watched some movies. I once again watched 12 Years a Slave with my students. So that's
Well, there it is.
fun. I'm getting that like twice a year now. So that's intense.
Hey, we have the star of that movie in our movie today.
That's right.
Yes, we do. Chiwetel Ejiofor makes a good turn in American Gangster. I watched this movie called Leave No Trace from 2018. This was director Deborah Granick's eventual follow-up to Winter's Bone. It stars Ben Foster.
Wow.
And it has a lot of similar themes as both Winter Bone and I'd say Nomadland. It's very much about like a Vietnam, well, not a Vietnam veteran, but I think he's an Afghanistan war and Iraq war veteran, and he just like can't live in society anymore. So he's living in the woods with his like 13-year-old daughter, and it's very much about how society won't really let you leave it. It won't let you not be a part of it. It was pretty good. It was a little slow, but if you liked Winter's Bone, I'd recommend Leave No Trace. And if you like Ben Foster, I mean, it's like a starring role pretty much for him. That's always great, right?
Absolutely.
Fucking A. I made the grievous error of watching 2017's Hangman with Al Pacino and Carl Urban.
Come on.
Oh man, this is like the kind of movie, like an adaptation that they're talking about. They're like making fun. Like literally, it's a guy who like hangs people and like carves letters in them and shit. Oh man, you ever start a movie and like with like less than like a minute or two in, you're like, it's not too late. I could hit eject here. I could top out, and then like you just stay there anyways, knowing like right off the bat that this is gonna fucking suck. But you still sit there for the full hour and a half.
I remember the trailer, and I'm like, this is like the 3. Like it should be a joke in like a comedy movie.
Exactly what I was thinking of is the fucking 3 from adaptation. Just like this is so. It's like I gotta watch The Snowman after this. I guess.
Oh Jesus.
And then I didn't really watch many movies. I watched American Gangster, of course, and I guess the one that I watched this week that left the biggest impression on me was a pretty interesting film from 2012. I forget the director's name, someone I hadn't heard of, but the film's called Barbarian Sound Studio with Toby Jones. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
It's a really fascinating movie. It's a period piece. I think it's set like in the early 80s, maybe late 70s. And it all takes place, or virtually all of it takes place in the sound studio in Italy, where like this English sound designer has been hired by an Italian giallo filmmaker. So he's just like dealing with like, he's just watching like the most grotesque horror all the time and like being drawn more and more into this like story, and it's like disturbing him more and more. And it's very interesting as like someone who like is interested in filmmaking, because there's all this Foley going on and like just a lot of like how the sausage is made kind of like film, you know what I mean? It's kind of a meta film because you're like watching it. It's about sound being designed for a film, but also there's like this really like, it's not quite a horror element, but it's very creepy and like dreamlike. So I enjoyed Barbarian Sound Studio. It was slow moving, but it stuck with me.
Barbarian?
What is Barbarian? B-E-R, like Berber, like a Berber carpet,
Berber
I guess.
Carpet, yeah.
Berberian Barbarian Sound Studio.
So shitty carpeted sound studio.
No, it's like the area. I think it's part like the region.
What the fuck? Wow.
That's it. That's what I watched.
Kind of a slim week for Travis.
Busy week.
Wow.
Busy week in life.
He's been talking a lot. So.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of talking.
Everybody's talking. All right. Eric Brancham in Griffith, Indiana. I'm sure you watched a lot of movies because it's that time of season where you stay indoors and you watch movies.
Well, since I'm back to teaching now, I've been trimmed down myself, but I've been out there. I mean, so I went back and started watching more of Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. I took a brief hiatus, but I am back. We've got some fantastic updates, man. Like I encourage everyone to go back. It's such a fun show, especially now that it's been so long. Like every segment, there's an update, so you have the satisfaction.
Yeah,
like
fun.
Last night, this sweet old lady from Tupelo, Mississippi, got screwed out of over $500,000 by this asshole who committed fraud. They caught his ass, and I can happily report that he is now dead and burning in hell.
Wait. So you watch old school shows?
Yeah, I watched the
You go on
original
YouTube.
Unsolved Mysteries on Amazon Prime with Robert Stack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. I can't stop.
So have you seen them all?
I mean, I'm on season 4, and there's like 50 seasons before Dennis Farina takes over as host, and then I'm
Dennis Farina took over.
That happened? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll be
No
out after that.
shit, and he's dead.
Yeah, they're
That's
both
true.
dead.
That's true.
Well, yeah. That's amazing. I really didn't know that. That's fascinating.
There it is. Yep. Good night.
Big like Phil Collins energy coming with these drums.
A lot of fraud last night.
Yeah, there's always a lot of trouble, mistakes.
A lot of fraud, like bad checks.
Oh, bad checks.
It's like either ghosts or bad checks. That's like the variety.
I feel like there's major Halloween vibes here too. Like I think some John Carpenter theft happening with this score.
This is a great score. It really is. It's catchy and memorable.
Think about this song and some asshole trying to pass a bad check at a gas station. Will they catch him?
Did Peter Gabriel write this?
I believe he's about to start singing in German.
Remix.
Okay, I just wanted to play that. I can't get enough of that. It's a great song. It's fun. Reminds me of 1989.
Absolutely, man.
Saturday night,
Yep.
like in my dad's house, and I'm trying to play video games, and they're like watching Murder, She Wrote, Columbo, this show all night long on network television.
Can you play the Rescue 911 theme now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have that one.
Bill Shatner. Kidding me?
Yeah, I'll have to get that one. Sorry, Travis.
All right. Work on that for me.
I had some of the cringiest moments in my viewing history recently. So I started watching Saved by the Bell again, like the first season.
Wait. Like Miss Bliss show or the actual Saved by the Bell?
Not Good Morning Miss Bliss, but the first episode of Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
It's cringeworthy. Like it's fun, but literally the very first like episode that I watched, you had let's see, how do I word this? You had was it Jessie Elizabeth Berkley?
Yeah.
Like she spent the entire episode trying to like make up for her history as a white person to Lisa and like try to make up for the horrific era of slavery. It was unbelievable to sit there and watch. She's like, can I buy you lunch? Can I like do this? And Lisa's like, leave me the hell alone. It was like, how did they even film this? How did this get past the script stage?
Zach Morris is trash.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if this show holds up because that alone is horrible.
I'm gonna come out and just say the show was never good. I didn't like it when I was a kid.
Of course it wasn't.
I never liked it. I never understood people's fascination with it. I was just like, this is fucking corny trash. Who does this speak to? And apparently a ton of fucking people. I just never got it.
Zach Morris is trash.
We've learned that Zach Morris is trash too. So it just got worse.
In all 10 episodes I watched, there was like a senior assembly at the end of the episode, and there was like 12 people there. So I don't know what the fuck is going on at Bayside High. It's
I don't know.
Before graduation.
Zach Morris is trash.
It should have been all about Screech. He was the only relatable character.
Oh man! Well, Saved by the Bell's not a good show, Travis. It's clearly not a good show, but
I know, controversial opinion. I'm coming out in the year 2021.
Controversial episode.
They were handsome. That's all it was. They were handsome people, good-looking people, and people all want deep down. They're like, "Oh, I want to be like that. I wish they're my friends. I'm not cool, and they're cool. I think they're my." It's just like there's a lot of weird shit going on there. If you really want to start breaking it down, not healthy, very unhealthy.
I don't want to break it down.
No, yeah, let's break it down next week. Saved by the Bell. There is a movie. There was like a Saved by the Bell summer movie. I think maybe I could bring that to the table. Is that legal?
I mean,
are we doing television movies? Are television movies allowed?
Network? Why not?
No, but yeah, I mean, come on.
We're opening a Pandora's box to terrible network television movies from the 80s, 90s. Oh, it could get real bad.
There was a moment we almost did the Babes in Toyland remake from
Babes
like
1985
or whatever it was. So I mean,
I think Daryl was made for TV. Daryl's a classic.
There's a lot of
that was Disney
films
though. That's like
pretty good.
Disney Channel. That's
Mr.
not
Boogedy. Come on, that's still television.
There was a Bundy movie that was made for TV. It's pretty terrible with Mark Harmon.
Yeah, I remember
Can't
that.
think of
Desperate Stranger.
Going Clear. I don't know. I'm trying to think of HBO films. There's a bunch of
that's
those.
different. That's different.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
different realm, maybe.
We
Well,
do we do
television,
documentaries too? We don't do documentaries, right?
Yeah, I keep thinking. I'm trying to think of a good one to bring on, but I just can't nail it.
But we don't do docs, right? Have we made like an unspoken rule here that we don't do documentaries?
I don't think it's. I mean, I'm going to bring it on an animated film at some point. So if you
Yeah.
want to bring in a doc, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay, well, good to know. We're making progress here. This is cool. Great.
Switch
All
it up.
Sorry, Eric. Back to you, Eric. I apologize.
Oh yeah, we derailed that. Sorry, bud.
I watched Opportunity Knocks with Dana Carvey.
Love it.
It's a stupid movie.
I love that movie.
Is it better than the Turtle movie?
Literally every single thing that happens in the movie is cringeworthy, racist, homophobic. It's
From
when's the
1990.
last time you watched it? It's
couple years ago.
unbelievable.
Like,
It's,
literally,
the whole
like, 2
movie
years
is
ago.
like ripping the hair out of my head. Like everything he says is like this stupid, like stereotypical affectation of some other race. I could not handle it. It was fucking
Like Jack
horrible.
Morris this week. Wow, that's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is definitely some like cringy, like Carvey impersonations of other races.
Yeah. His humor doesn't hold up. His humor is canceled.
There's some weak moments in there, but it's one that I just watched a ton as a kid. I watched it a fucking ton as a kid. It's got that Johnny Clegg song in it that I like so much. Weird, crazy, wonderful world. Anyways,
I think it's important not to rewrite history. If it is as it is, we need to know that. If we're going to do better, let's keep things as they were, learn from that, and we'll do better down the road.
Learn from opportunity knocks.
I wouldn't take opportunity knocks and like set it down in front of like someone today, but like enjoy this great film. It's a fine work of art.
Recently entered into the Library of Congress.
Wow.
It's a Raisin in the Sun, Citizen Kane.
That's right.
Opportunity Knocks is not Career Opportunities, by the way.
Opportunities is a different movie.
That's what I was thinking.
A better
Mike.
movie.
Yeah.
A better movie. Admittedly.
Oh, that's interesting.
No Fiddler on the Roof references in that one, though. So, I don't know.
But seriously, what was the name of that stupid ass Dana Carvey movie where he turns into a turtle and it was like
Disguise.
Master of Disguise. Yeah.
the two worst movies maybe ever: Master of
Turtle.
Disguise and Love Guru, both done by the Wayne's World guys.
Oof.
Just saying.
It's unbelievable.
These are good points.
That's it, though, Mike. How about you, bro?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're light today. I got nothing. I've been balls deep in Sopranos. You know that. So
Yeah.
it's my
season-
first watch.
Where are you at? Right
Knowing what happened for the first time. So I forgot so many things. So I was like, oh fuck, that happened. Right. I'm on 4 right now, season 4.
Oh.
now? Next episode I watch is Long Term Parking, one of the greatest episodes of the show. Looking forward to that one. It's season 5.
Wait. Oh, I'm not there yet. Okay, that would make sense.
Big
I was trying to
Adriana. Big Adriana.
Oh boy. Yeah, I watched Pine Barrens a couple days ago. People love that episode.
It's a great
a little
episode.
overrated, I feel like.
It's a little overrated. It's a
Yeah.
little
A
overrated.
little overrated. Season
Thank
3,
you.
episode 1 is my favorite. When they first bug Tony, like a whole episode's just pure
Mr.
comedy.
Rosario's Neighborhood. That's
Love
a great
it.
one.
Fucking love it.
That is a
Yeah.
good one. I think season 2 might be the best. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking of that right now. It's really good. I like season 2.
I go, it's 2, but I think I like 3 the most. I really like Ralphie a lot. I mean, he's terrible. He's a terrible human being, but I love Joe Pantoliano.
The arc.
And
See,
the
this
whole-
is what
the
it
whole
comes
thing.
down to, man. It's down to who do you enjoy but loathe more, Ralph
Ralphie.
Cifaretto
Yeah.
or Richie Aprile? Those two
Ralphie.
assholes back-to-back seasons. I'm like, oh, Richie Aprile's gone now. Okay, great. So we're done with that. Nope, we got Ralph Cifaretto. He just shows up after Tony's mom dies. They don't even. I love how they don't introduce him too. He's just there.
He'd been in
in
Miami.
line.
He's just been in Miami the whole time. He's been busy
Yeah.
doing cocaine in Miami.
I like that about the show though. Like, yeah,
What else is in it?
That's literally his backstory. Tony Blundetto, jail. Okay, that makes sense. We haven't talked about him in 4 seasons or whatever. All right. Ralphie Cifaretto just blow in Miami. Oh, okay, that's fine. He's been off the radar.
yeah. Tony, so sorry about your mother. Yeah. So. And I did
Well, at
watch
least
that
you didn't
episode
suck.
again. Nancy Marchand. That's cringeworthy too. That's just.
Lowest
They should
moment.
have
done that.
One of the lowest
Yeah.
moments in television history when they superimpose
That's
her
rough.
face over it.
It's like, what is that?
Unwatchable.
It's so bad.
It's really, yeah, it's so bad. It just gets worse. It doesn't get better.
Yeah,
You're just like,
awful.
oh, it
It
got
just-
better over the
remove
years.
it.
Not at all.
Redact.
I know. I've talked to people that didn't notice. I'm like, that's astounding to me that you wouldn't notice.
I could, yeah. You know that scene in Chud in which a gnarly Chud breaks into the apartment
Yes.
and its gross, dumb neck gets long for seemingly no reason? Yeah, that's Chud Pud. That's
Oh man.
what my junk looks like.
I remember that scene. It was completely
Sincerely,
ridiculous.
Aaron Worley. This is Aaron Worley commenting on the live stream for you podcast listeners.
Breaks into the apartment.
Well, now we don't have to cover it next week when he's on.
That's great. Yeah, one less thing to worry about. Thanks.
I love
Aaron.
how a
appreciate
Chud
it.
has
Check it
to
off the list.
break into an apartment like it's your common petty criminal.
Yeah, I don't think I watched a single movie. Yeah, so sorry. It's just one of those times, I guess. So
Just
Oh.
just reveling in a romantic Canadian bliss.
yeah, well,
There it is.
she was bummed out I didn't bring my movie collection. I did blow that, and we got stuck watching the Anna Nicole Smith story on 2020 prime time on a Friday night. I'm like, when the last time have I sat down and watched ABC on a Friday night? Good God.
Does network television still exist?
2020? Hugh Downs?
It's a hotel, man. I was like, what? Was there more options than this? What the fuck?
No, 2020.
Yeah, that was Saturday. We watched old Seinfeld episodes on CTV, which is a Canadian channel. So it's all Canadian TV. I don't know what's going on, but it's basically American because there was nothing Canadian about any of it.
All right. Well,
If you've ever wondered, if anyone's ever wondered.
I spend many sleepless nights wondering.
We'll spend tonight wondering.
I did watch American Gangster, though. That is the one movie I did watch, of course,
Good.
because I chose it. So
Well,
it's the least I could do.
That's the least.
Yeah. So that's it. We're going to dive into American Gangster. Does it hold up or not? It's a standard issue segment. We do it every week here on the Cinema 9 podcast. Travis Roy, Eric Branstrom, Michael Govier. Don't forget you can follow us, Cinema 9 Pod, at all your favorite social media platforms. And you can follow us individually if you like. Me and Travis are on Twitter. I'm at MJ Govier. He's at Royservoir, R-O-Y, Zervoir. If you don't know how to spell it, that's S-E-R-Voir, V-O-I-R.
I aim for clarity.
You are. So, 2007 film, directed by Ridley Scott, our first Ridley Scott feature.
oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go through the cast. This has to be the biggest cast of any movie we've done by far. Am I wrong?
Wow.
I think it's the biggest cast of any movie done so far, period.
The ensemble is out of control. I mean,
It's like half the Earth's population.
it really is. I audibly gasped like 10 times. Like,
Imagine making a drinking game out of this where you do a shot every time you recognize someone who comes on screen.
you'd be out of your mind.
It's absurd. It's distracting even. I'm like, what
T.I.
the fuck?
Hey, RZA! Yeah, all right.
At least T.I. and RZA have roles. Like all of a sudden, fucking Norman Reedus just blows in to be like, "Hey, I hang out in corners of mortuaries."
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
That's
Like,
it.
it could have been anybody. Like, why Norman? I mean, nothing against it. Like, I like cameos, but it just is literally like a barrage of the senses. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Kevin Corrigan. Oh, you know,
Of course.
fucking yeah, of course.
John
Kevin
Polito.
Corrigan. Right, John. Shit on me, Polito, John
Shit
Ortiz.
on me.
It's just like
Ed Levine,
constant.
baby.
Yeah, Ted Levine. Like I recognize his voice first. I'm like, oh, Ted Levine, here he is.
Oh, you guys find that heroin or what?
Miles Dyson, too.
That's good. Oh, I officially have my second favorite
Miles
Joe
Dyson.
Morton role.
Yes.
I mean that mustache and that straight
That's wig.
fucking Cab Calloway.
That smoking
hair.
jacket? How about that? Yeah, he looks...
Halloween USA costume department.
Oh man, just went for it. He just went for it.
Yes, Aaron, the first pod ever was a Tony Scott film. That
Goddamn
is
right,
correct.
that pod.
Yes, we got a Cinema 9 historian here.
Not
Well
free,
done.
baby.
That's right. Very good.
But this is Ridley Scott, and they're two different
weird,
people. Yeah, so Travis, do you remember the first time you ever saw this movie? I don't think this is the first time you've seen this, is it?
This is the second time I've seen it.
Okay.
I watched it when it came out on, I guess, DVD, and that was it.
Okay.
I podcast well. I like
Eric Branstrom.
I mean, I was kind of underwhelmed. I thought it was pretty overhyped, and I wasn't that into it when I saw it. That's why I didn't watch it again until yesterday.
Oh. Okay, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinions, and I want you to know that.
Thanks.
Eric Branstrom, you're welcome. What about you, Eric? When's the first time you saw this movie?
I rented it on DVD in 2007, and I made the horrific mistake of like starting it at like 11 p.m. So I was kind of like just like drifting in and out of it. I don't remember a goddamn thing about it until I watched it again last night. So I'm ashamed of myself because I spent all this time not really having much of an opinion on it because I pretty much just slept through the damn thing upon first viewing.
Oh.
And it's lengthy. It's what 2 hours and 37 minutes for
Really
the
is, yeah.
for the theatrical cut.
Yep.
There's a 2 hour and 55 minute cut out there, but I haven't seen it.
Unreal.
I have that. I think that's the one I watched because I noticed extra scenes. I was like, wait, this isn't in the original. So
Yeah. Okay.
there's more Clarence Williams III, which Bumpy Johnson, who was a real character. This is a strange movie. We'll talk more about this. This is supposed to be based on a true story, by the way, about Frank Lucas, who's a real person. Bumpy Johnson was also a very famous real person in Harlem, gangster type, reputable, kind of a well-known dude as well. So
Nicky Barnes played by Cuba in the movie.
yeah, fucking just nonstop. Shit, you got somebody playing Joe Louis. So you got all these like historical figures popping in. Plus you got all these actors that you recognize popping in. It's a lot to take in. I will say that for sure. Okay, but let's get back to the basics. So did anyone look up the score on this? Because I saw this movie in the theater, by the way. I did see it in the theater.
For once,
I was
didn't
into
look
it. You didn't look up the score. I was into seeing this, and I remember like, oh shit, this could be good. And Russell Crowe By the way, Russell Crowe is like equally with Denzel in this movie, so I should mention that as well. But this is Denzel's movie, in my opinion. But what's the score? I didn't look it up. So, Eric, did you look?
No, I'm going to say 7.0.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The way you have this screen set up, Mike, it looks like I'm walking down the street. I just have a really large upper body and a really like skinny legs.
I thought
You look like that Peter
I'm walking
Griffin.
down the street. I'm
You
walking
look
down
like
the
Peter
street.
Griffin's aunt, where she's all face and legs only.
No, yeah, I think I'm going to guess in the sevens. Let's say I'll go up a little higher. I'll say 7.2.
Okay.
By the way, what's just for fun? You think the score is on Opportunity Knocks?
5.1.
6.1.
That's very
It's
generous.
not bad.
Very generous.
Oh, you said it was all right. Come on. No, you didn't say that. Trevor said that. I think this has got to be, whether it's legit or not, I believe that the score will be high because it's so large in scope and a true story. Denzel, Ridley Scott, Russell Crowe. I'm going to say this is like a 7.8. That's my guess.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Actual retail price, it is 7.8. I did not look, I swear. It's 7.8 right on the nose.
That's elite territory. That's beloved. That is
That really is.
film
High
territory.
caliber.
Yeah.
That is prized film territory.
It's an American treasure kind of thing happening right there. I mean, that's high. That's high.
That's a big one. And we'll talk more about, hey, is that legit or not, as we continue forward here on the Cinema 9 podcast. On the Rotten Tomatoes side of things, 81% for the critics, 87% for the audience. The audience loves it. Big fans of this movie, which makes sense to me. I think the audience likes this movie a lot. I think it's driven a lot by many different quotes and stuff. It's pretty quotable. There's a lot of, there's always this. We've done it many times. So, one more for my man, Denzel Washington. Critically, though, Goody Koontz. Is Goody Koontz in?
We got Goody Koontz. We got Desson. Who are our favorite? Well, Desson is one of our favorites because he does like genuinely good work. Goody Koontz, who knows? We really only had him one time, but what a name, Mr. Goody Koontz.
It's tough to top. It really is tough to top.
Like a good candy bar, like nougat, caramel.
I'll take a bite of Goody Koontz.
I would totally eat a Goody Koontz.
We got a.
Goody Koontz.
I would. It sounds delicious. Yeah, I'm into it. Pablo Villaca of Cinema M Cine. Oh, it's all in Spanish. Never mind. I can't.
Oh, all right.
I thought it was like it was in. I'm sorry, guys. I don't read Spanish well. I admit that freely. How about Larry Ratliff? We've never done this one. Larry Ratliff of the San Antonio Express News.
Okay.
Ridley Scott forgets that editing is an art form as well.
All right.
I don't think he forgets at all. In fact, the great Pietro Scalia's editing on this is beautiful. I love the way he weaves these two stories together. It's seamless. I don't know what Ratcliffe's problem is.
Yeah, I that is not something that occurred to me in all this movie. If there are beasts, but that's not one of them. Travis?
Wow. Almost as brief as Desson these days.
The bogus transition I missed?
Travis Roy, the Cinema 9 podcast, yes?
I did kind of notice some issues with the editing as I watched the film. I felt like it was a kind of a breakneck pace for being a damn near 3-hour movie. Scott at one point had talked about making this a 2-movie feature, and I think that doing a 2-movie feature or going ahead and going for a 3-hour theatrical cut would have been a better call, because I felt like there was parts of this where they move along at a bit too fast for me.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Wow,
that's a good take. We need to know that.
I have another point that I'll get to with that as we get deeper in.
Thank you. That's excellent news. Thank you, Travis.
You're welcome.
Continuing forth with the reviews. There's a lot of reviews, and I'm not seeing our pals yet. I'm trying to get to our pals because there's so many. David Anson from Newsweek said this: "For all its grit, style, and atmosphere, Gangster never sweeps you away. It has neither the lurid bravado of De Palma's Scarface nor the intimate grasp of the criminal lifestyle you find in Scorsese or Coppola."
I fucking hate Scarface, so I can't.
Yeah, I think Scarface is not that great. I did feel like, as I watched the movie, I definitely felt like there's a lot of like deliberate hearkening towards Goodfellas, though. Not a lot, but some. Particularly the opening scene, like hey, like I've got to start a movie with an execution. Only in this sense, like the execution in Goodfellas, like it serves a purpose. It's like it's part of the film.
It's part of a bigger story too.
Yeah.
You're right.
definitely got
Fuck that. I don't like that scene at all, by the way. Fuck, it's dumb. Unnecessary.
It's completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so I guess it's supposed to get like your blood pumping to gear you up, but it's silly to me.
Okay, so that actually gets at the point I was going to make about the editing later, so I might as well go ahead and say it now. Like, I think that the movie skirts away from violence in a lot of places, except for that it does it in these random, bizarre cutaways. Like, it cuts away to the violence, and like there's no context for it. There's two murders, or no, when he murders Idris Elba in the middle of the street, like that's very clear and like, you know, part of the story and stuff. But for the most part, like most of the violence, and he beats a couple people up, but most of the violence is like very much like you're watching the movie, then you get like cutaways. Someone's like, you know, getting shot or thrown on the stairs or like suffering from heroin. Like it's all like these cutaways, and then like we get back to the story. And I just felt like that was like, it seemed like there was parts of the movie that they wanted to put in there that didn't have time to, but they wanted to also show violence and like, but like it didn't fit. So that's what this is where the editing issues I was kind of getting at, where I'm talking about.
He beats up the driver of his cousin. That makes sense.
I'm not. Yeah.
So,
I'm not,
okay. Well,
I'm not saying there's no moments of violence. I'm just saying that a lot. The murders in particular, other than Idris Elba, like they're typically in cutaways. And anything
you're upset because they murdered a dog in this movie.
Another fucking movie where they punch a woman, another fucking movie where they kill a dog, another fucking movie where there's an Asian slur. Within 3 minutes of this one, I feel like every movie we watch has to have these 3 fucking elements. It's exasperating.
Well, the last 2 movies we watch are both in a time, they are period pieces. So I will say that just for the record. They're not it's made in 2007, but it's based in the 70s.
I don't really, I'm not marking against a movie.
I know you're not.
I'm more just,
you're right. You're not wrong. Those are facts. Yeah,
God,
those are
it just
facts.
happens so often in film, all 3 of those fucking things.
Yeah, it's commonplace. It's fun for them, I guess. Or they're fucked up. Or they're trying to be too true to reality, but it's not always reality. Anyways, fuck them. Kurt Loder. What about Kurt Loder from MTV?
Loder.
Old Kurt.
Loder.
We never hear from Kurt Loder. If nothing else, American Gangster exposes Brian De Palma's Scarface, another Scarface reference, the most popular drug saga among gangster wannabes, as the crude cartoon that it is. Well, Eric, you'd like to hear that, wouldn't you? Right?
I'm confused. Kurt Loder reviewed films? I thought he just like reviewed like the Everclear album or whatever the fuck was going on in the 90s.
It's so dumb, right? It's like, what is Kurt Loder? I never see him mixed in here, so he felt like he had to. This is a big movie. I think people need to hear from me on this one. So
the people need to know.
Roger Ebert was still alive, and he said, "This is an engrossing story told smoothly and well." And Russell Crowe's contribution is enormous. Wow. So he's really singling out Crowe here. What do you think?
Roger loves his epics. I mean, anytime there's a big, long epic, like David Copperfield-esque story, I've noticed, always loves those.
One of my personal favorites, Wesley Morris, who we've done before. He's now at the New York Times. Back then, he was at the Boston Globe, and he said the entire movie is caught between being a work of seriousness and a work of absurdity.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Is that too highfalutin?
Why is it absurd?
Well, it's caught because it's like a farce almost in a way, but it's not. Wait, you're right. Yeah, I don't know.
Absurdism is like Monty Python. Like, what is he talking about?
Unless he's talking.
Oh! I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please say what you're going to say.
Are you going to scream if I do?
No, I found something great after you.
Secret word?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. We'll get to the
please say it.
That conky?
Something absurd. How about the claim that this is a true story?
There you go. There it is.
Fucking absurd.
Yes.
Where's the rim shot, Mike?
Yeah, I wish I had one. Damn it, I don't know.
There it is. Says it all.
That's probably what he's referring to.
If you like the movie, cheer for you. Don't do your homework.
3 cheers.
You may not like what you read.
Yeah, it's very bogus. Thank you, Travis. I'm glad you pointed that out. We'll talk more about that momentarily. But I found Bill Goody Coontz's review.
Goody Coonts.
That's why I screamed. I'm sorry. I just got so excited.
You don't even need to read it. Let's just talk about Bill Goody Coonts. And what do you think that surname is? Is it German? Czech? What is that?
Goody Koontz.
Goody Coonts.
Yeah, Goody Coonts.
Goody, spelled like good. Why? Koontz.
Like Dean Koontz, but he's Goody. Like,
can you imagine if like
Dean Goody Koontz,
his fiance had like a lovely last name, like something beautiful in Italian, and she found out that she was going to have to be called Mrs. Goody Koontz for the rest of her life?
She should keep her name.
Yeah, I'd suggest just staying with the maiden name.
Yeah, I wonder what a last name's been a deal breaker for somebody. I'm out. I can't
Maybe.
do this.
I'll never forget being in West Virginia and coming across the chambers of a Judge Pancake.
Pancake.
Oh yeah, it's actually a common name over there. I would walk around for like a week being like, I saw someone named Judge Pancake, and everyone's like, yeah, Pancake, what?
Yeah.
Oh man, that should be
West
that
Virginia,
bailiff,
dude.
the Honorable Judge Pancake. All right, he's probably every day trying not to laugh.
I had nothing but Mayor McCheese jokes, and everyone's like, yeah, we've heard those. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, according to Bill Goodykoontz of the Arizona Republic,
Oh.
American Gangster shoots for epic stature and misses, but Washington hits the mark from start to finish in one of the year's best performances. The one element that earns the larger-than-life status the rest of the film so desperately seeks. But he still gives it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Seems like he's kind of ripping on it, though. Right?
Yeah, no.
Goodykoontz? What's up? What's the deal, Goodykoontz? Help us out.
What's the deal, Goodykoontz? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What's that, Goodykoontz? Whoa! So dumb. I don't see any Destin, guys. I'm sorry. I tried, but that's it. 11 pages of review. No Destin Thompson this week. Sorry.
All right.
All right.
So, yeah, let's talk about the bullshit going on here with this based on a true story. So, okay, Frank Lucas is a real person. That is a fact. That's true. Richie Robertson is a real person. That's true. Who Russell Crowe's character. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I took some light digging on my part to find a whole bunch of shit just stacked up to be like, this is nonsense. I mean, the people who said it was nonsense include people such as Frank Lucas himself, people that have written books about Frank Lucas, Richie Roberts himself, the people that were on the prosecution, the people that were on the team that caught him, pretty much everybody who knows anything about any of this shit says something along the lines of Frank Lucas is a real guy and he sold drugs. That's about it.
Yeah. And the whole thing with the cadavers and the drugs being smuggled through U.S. dead bodies from Vietnam, total bullshit, apparently. Although it's a he said between the guy they called Nate in this movie. So the real guy wasn't called Nate, but cousin Nate over there in Vietnam or in Thailand is supposed to be this guy that has outwardly rejected, the real guy rejected Frank Lucas's claims.
Frank Lucas, from what I read, has only even claimed that he only ever did that once, and that that it wasn't even servicemen in the coffin, but he had made a fake coffin or some crap. But it just kind of became this kind of urban legend type thing that they kind of had to, or felt like they had to throw in the movie. But there is so much just utter fiction about this movie that it baffles me to even pretend to put a based on a true story thing at the front. Why not just, inspired by true events and change the names? You don't have to. This pretense, this kind of Oscar baiting pretense that this is a true story. What's the fuck? Who does that serve? It's a perfectly good story, but don't fucking pull this bait and switch on me where you're going to pretend like there's anything remotely historically accurate happening.
You've got the legendary Oscar-winning Steve Zalian from Gangs of New York, Schindler's List. We're talking about one of the best screenwriters that's ever lived. You can't make the real story interesting or compelling enough for this film. I mean, even with what's there, I've seen brilliant movies where they had barely anything and they stick true to what actually happened and you come out with a great product. So why stuff it in with all this nonsense, especially when the majority of it is so familiar and cliched and shit we've seen over and over again.
And the real life relationship between Lucas and Roberts is pretty fascinating. Not only did Roberts actually end up defending him in court, he ended up taking care of Lucas's kids while he was in prison. He ended up being godfather to one of his sons. They have a very close relationship. And you only get 3 scenes or something with them together in the movie.
And don't forget one of the 2000 cinema's most straight narrowed Serpico-esque cops was actually a complete kind of a douchebag. I mean, the dude was put to trial for stealing his client's money several years back and wound up getting probation. And that was his
Richie
first
Roberts?
offense. Yeah,
Richie Roberts.
Yeah, the guy's a fucking asshole.
They make him so noble in the movie. He won't steal he won't take any money. It is a period of time. One of the things that is accurate is, yes, there were a lot of cops on the take, especially in New York City during this time. Right. That is true.
Does it feel like 1968 to 1975 to you guys?
No, it feels like 1973 and onward.
I mean, it's interesting. Like, I'm not. This is.
You don't think it feels like the period at all? Then is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm saying that typically, like, it's the year after the summer of love, but it's on the other side of the country in a very different kind of vibe. And so I find it like it kind of reminded me of Zodiac in some ways, and its approach to the era, and like not trying to do like a whole peace, love, and 1960s, early 70s vibe. Like it feels kind of like, it feels like the 80s to me in a lot of ways. It feels like very, I don't know, but like not necessarily in a bad way. It just doesn't have like a typical 60s vibe to it. It's a lot grittier. It's a lot dirtier, angrier than like you typically see late 60s, early 70s, that's pretty accurate. Like that's accurate, right? Like this was actually a pretty tumultuous time with riots and shit like that. And you don't see that represented in film very much. So I just found it interesting. I'm not saying I didn't buy it. I just found it interesting.
It feels like 70s New York City, New Jersey, North New Jersey to me for sure. So that really, I never really questioned that. I thought they set the tone well with the mustaches. A lot of quality mustaches. Josh Brolin's mustache is first class. And a great head of hair with a sweet car. So
nothing compared to Joe Morton's, but it's good.
Yeah. I think they're both equally intimidating and impressive and beautiful all in once. They
one's from Halloween, USA, and one is grown from the man's actual scalp.
Oh, wow. What about Armand Asante? He's in this movie too. He pops in and he's like the Don of the Italian side of the family, and he has this whole pissed off thing going on with corruption. So the corruption is real too, so this is where it gets confusing, because some of the stuff is very much historically real. It did happen, but then it's all bullshit. So it fucks up people's views and perspectives of reality.
There was a lawsuit brought against it was dropped. It was a lawsuit brought against the filmmakers because by the DEA, saying that this special investigations unit that the Brolin's character was supposed to represent, that this was maligning hundreds of people, but you never even it got dropped because you never even get to, they're in the DEA. Who fucking knows what department they're in? So that's why it ended up being dropped. But they're
city cops. That's what I think. They're special New York City cops. That's what I got.
So special.
Very special.
They're the specialist of all.
Most special.
So. Not the specialist with Sylvester Stallone and Sharon Stone, by the way.
No.
Or The Getaway with Cindy Crawford.
Kim Basinger.
And Cindy Crawford. And what am I thinking of? Cindy Crawford.
The Getaway is Kim. Oh, you're thinking
one of the Baldwin brothers.
Oh shit! I know exactly what you're talking about. The Getaway is Basinger and Baldwin. Yeah, it's Stone. No, it's Crawford and Baldwin. The other, it's Billy, and they're.
Isn't it called The Getaway?
No, the Getaway is Basinger and Alec Baldwin in '94. But the next year, Sidney Crawford.
Fair Game.
Yes, Fair Game. Thank you so much. Well, Freeway. No, dearie. We know Freeway here. Come on. That's it.
I know what I'm making the Twitter picture for next week.
A lot of getaway pictures in the 90s. The Chase, remember? Kirstie Swanson, Charlie Sheen.
Great movie. That might come up here. I'm not kidding. That could be an interesting film to analyze.
But yeah, going back, I mean, we do. Come on, it's a movie. So once again, you have these, they have to create these amalgams of characters and then just condense into one guy that's going to represent that, motif they're trying to set forth in the movie. Armand Asante, the same thing, not a real guy, based on a real guy. And
he's a Renaissance man.
Yeah. So, what do you do?
I'm a Renaissance man.
Oh,
I love
Mike.
What's up, man? I'm a Renaissance man.
Yeah, you just don't open your mouth. That's pretty much Armand Asante. You're too Italian to open your mouth.
That chin. Have you ever seen a chin jut out like his chin juts out? It's amazing.
How did he not end up on The Sopranos at all?
I know, right? Fucking Burt Young got a role, a guest starring role.
Everybody did. Everybody but Asante and Liotta.
I feel like that was a personal disrespect. Somehow he might have fucked something up somewhere. But at any rate, so yeah, okay, we understand this movie's fucked in terms of historical accuracy. Okay, let's accept it and move forward from it.
All right, good call.
But it does focus in on the drug abuse in a period of time that it was kind of covered by the mainstream media, but nothing was really done about it, and people suffered like crazy. And this movie puts a nice microscope on that. I'm going to give the movie credit for that. Even his own partner, my guy, shit, what's his name? I love
John
him
Ortiz.
so much.
John Ortiz.
Thank you,
baby.
John
So
Ortiz.
good. This is one
He's
of his best
everywhere.
roles.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. He's like this. He gets bitter about the fact that the money they
did the right
collect.
thing.
They did Richie wants to do the right thing, which would be bullshit in real life, but whatever, let it go. And then he feels like he's ostracized and alienated. And I think that would very much happen. And then he becomes this drug addict, and he gets caught up in the streets, and then he tries to get Richie to... That scene where he kills the black guy, and then to get out of it, they have to wrap him up. That was also very real. There would be a lot of tension if you went into a black neighborhood or a project like that, and you killed a black person, and you're a cop, and they're not morons. They really had to cover that up. I almost think they wouldn't get away with that in fact, but I could see them trying to make that happen to pretend that he's got a bad wound, he's still alive, and get him into the paramedics.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best scenes in the movie. Actually,
Yeah,
I like how I like how Russell Crowe's character takes away Ortiz's gun, because like if he gets pulled into the crowd, like that's not going to be good. Like it's just like little things like that. I thought that was pretty well done. And again, Ortiz with that luxuriant hair, like what mane, what locks he's rocking in this film. And we keep on talking about Sopranos real quick. We got two people from Sopranos popping in this movie. We got Yul Vasquez, who in I forget what's episode is, but like he's friends with Hess for like a minute. They're like standing in the stables, and like they get in this disagreement about like the Holocaust, and they just stop being friends.
Oh, that's the Columbus episode.
Yeah. So that's Yul Vasquez there.
Just watch that one. Yeah.
And then we got
Ruby D?
Robert Funaro, who plays Eugene Pontecorvo in the last two seasons. He's on Gino's or Vito's crew. So, and he plays one of Brolin's cops. So it's fun watching The Sopranos and noticing that, yes, these people are in every fucking movie from the era.
And some of the best drool on camera of all time from John Ortiz when he's in the ambulance.
Yeah, I made a note of that too. Ortiz going for it and drooling all over himself.
Hall of Fame drool. I've been on a lot of pills, and I've hung around a lot of people who are fucked up. I've never seen anybody drool like that. He really sold it. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it's like Hooch in Turner and Hooch and John Ortiz and American Gangster. That's got to be the top two.
Renaissance man.
But so one of my complaints about this movie, and you don't get it with Ortiz, because this is like a solid role for Ortiz. I'll just give you a minute.
I'm sorry. Oh, that really got me good, man. Okay, let's move the show forward.
So that's a really solid role for Ortiz. And I know that Ruby D got a lot of acclaim for this role. I feel like she may have even been nominated for Best Supporting Actress for it.
She was old as fuck when she did this.
Fantastic.
Well,
how old was she?
Oh God, I don't know.
She was. I mean, she's dead now, but she was super old already. So I think she died in her 90s. I'll check that. But anyways, that's why she deserves it. She was born in 1922. Yeah, she was old as fuck.
She was old as fuck. But when she finally has that scene where she smacks him, I'm like, oh, good, she's working now. Like Cuba Gooding, like he's in a bunch of different scenes, and then it's like, when does Cuba get to work? Okay, now he's got a scene where he actually works. There's a lot of underutilized actors in here. There's a ton of great actors who blow in, and they don't really get a lot to do.
You're right. I was totally on board for Cuba, like because I remember between like As Good as It Gets and like American Gang, like I don't know what the fuck he was doing, like a lot of trash. But here he is, looking fucking fantastic, ready to go, and they don't really give him much to do, especially with a juggernaut of a criminal historically like Dickie Barnes.
Yeah. Common's in this too. It's like Common's here. Oh, okay. There's just like people everywhere.
They got all these amalgamation characters. Like, why not boil it down a little bit more? I realized that the dude, like, it's important that because Lucas supposedly did have a ton of family members working with him. A brother who he actually put a hit on at one point, allegedly. But still, you can whittle that down. And you're taking the fucking liberties that you're taking with the film, anyways, and just make it, I don't know, so that the people have time to really shine. I mean, some of these people like Chiwetel Ejiofor definitely gets plenty of screen time and does really good work with it. T.I., Calvin Harris, I think he does good with the scenes that he's in. But there's a few people I'm just like Polito, for instance. Like Polito he's in 2 scenes. Like he talks, but he's in like 6 scenes total. I don't know. It just seemed like some underutilized talent.
I think if he had to do this movie again, Ridley Scott would tell you that maybe I would take the size down a bit because there was 180 locations.
Yeah, that was
in this movie.
That was the point I was going to make. It like the record at the time. Like again, like maybe it's not an editing problem I have with the movie. Maybe it's just like a busyness problem with the movie.
Yeah, it's insane. They did film in Thailand. That's real Thailand over there, and so they went all over the fucking world for this thing.
That's right.
Which is good. They kind of had to for that stuff. I'm glad they did.
I don't know. I mean, for me, like I thought I praised Pietro Scalia so much because I thought the editing flowed so well. It reminds me of something like Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, Thelma Schoonmaker is the best editor that's ever lived. And what she does is she takes these 3.5 hour movies and makes them seem like they're only like an hour long because they're going from scene to scene to scene and they're stuffing a lot in instead of spending just like 20 minutes long on one basic thing that you could get in just like 10 seconds here in one location. Yes. So I don't know, it worked for me.
I completely agree. This movie always flew by for me. And sometimes it would end and I'd be like, oh, it's over already?
Yeah.
It's already I had that feeling when I watched this movie, not this time, but many times before. We get to the point where they like start over, they build the team and they start to do this new investigation. And I'm like, oh man, time's flying by now and the movie's going to end soon. And to me, it doesn't really drag all that much. It doesn't.
I literally paused it at like, I think, 97 minutes it's like literally the first time that Russell Crowe and Denzel like meet face to face.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, Mike, I could like this let's go, like bring it on. I could go for another 2 hours. I think this story could actually make a pretty solid 10-part miniseries.
I think it moves along at a pretty fast clip, like I said, and it didn't bore me. Like there's for being a pretty lengthy film,
yeah,
it's not uncommon for me to like stop and like pause a film and go and do other things.
That's the thing, man.
It is so. Despite I know I've got some issues with the editing. I can't really put my finger on what it is. I think, like I said, I think it's not really the editing. Maybe it's just a little bit too much going on for me, a little too busy. But it does move at a good clip for what's going on here. It doesn't bore the viewer.
Did anybody go out and try to buy heroin after this?
No, I didn't.
Good.
Did you?
That's good. I don't have a supplier. I can't make it over there. It's
did the
very
movie
expensive.
give you the impression that heroin's bad, or?
Not really.
No,
I mean, I saw a lot of positive things. A lot of money, a lot of growth.
Yep, a lot of money.
Mostly just business money. Opportunities.
A lot of scenes of like titties and heroin, like the obligatory naked ladies making heroin packets together.
That's the real deal, man. You can't steal that shit.
We get one Thanksgiving montage where it's like, "Hey, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Heroin sucks. Here's some dead bodies."
Yeah,
back to the movie.
But then Josh Brolin's car gets blown up. It's not a good Thanksgiving for him. He loved that car.
I know.
He was very sad. And so you're trying to. Did anyone have a problem keeping track of all the different beefs and rotating? Like, okay, so we got Frank Lucas versus the Brolin crew, these scumbag detectives. Right. And then we got the scumbag detectives versus Richie's crew, Richie, I love that scene when Russell Crowe has to get the money back that's been earmarked for him to try to follow the money. And he's so nervous to ask these guys.
When he pulled his badge out, I cringed like I've never cringed before. I was like, oh, you schmuck.
They fucking take his badge from him.
Yeah.
And like hold on to it for a minute. That's so emasculating.
Yeah.
It's all, he's like,
it's cringy. Yeah.
I've never seen Russell Crowe look so weak. It was kind of good. It was great acting.
Yeah, it's cool.
We got Frank versus Idris Elba character. We got all these tiny little subplots and sub conflicts that work.
Sometimes they don't really get fully fleshed out. There's this whole thing in the beginning where he's like talking about where Roberts is talking about how public speaking is everyone's greatest fear. And this guy is someone who becomes a public speaker. He's a defender. He's a lawyer. So that
he makes a point in that scene because John Ortiz is like, well, why don't you not do it then? He's like, no, I want to get over the fear. He does make that point. I had actually never caught that line in that scene because I often said the same thing. Why is he doing this? But he wants to fight through it. He wants to overcome it. So
yeah,
whether it's real or not.
Right. And he does because he becomes a lawyer and stuff. But I don't know. It just seemed like it was like, I don't know, like a seed that was dropped that didn't really get, I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot going on. Again, there's a whole fucking lot going on in this film. So when things could have been dropped, maybe it would have been helpful in a few places. But
so let's talk about Frank. By the way, it's a Cinema 9 podcast. We're talking about American Gangster. Does it hold up or not? Well, I don't know. We'll find out. So even if it's real or not, forget that. Put it all aside.
Yeah.
Frank in the movie focuses a ton on family. Is it legit? Is this guy a hypocrite? Is this because he's trying to create this world and help everybody in his family to raise the stakes? He seems like a super reputable, even though he's a terrible murderer. He's a terrible, terrible, violent murderer. He's got a lot of stoicism and pride, and he's very much always in a suit every day, and he tries to set the tone for his family. But is he a hypocrite or not?
Well, I don't think he's necessarily responsible with his family. I mean, his mom tells him at that one big scene, like, you were the oldest. Whatever you did with your life, they were all going to follow you. You could, if you wanted to be I should give some examples, but whatever you did, they were going to do too. And he clearly doesn't, like, he sees them as like means to an end for the most part. He doesn't seem to really value them very much as family at all. They're just people that he can trust and keep close to him and do business for him. He's a pretty bad guy. Like, he's not a good guy, Frank Lucas.
And it's almost like a facade or a front to keep up this personality as this family man and this noble person in his community. You got the obligatory have the crime lord handing out turkeys or whatever the fuck on Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So
played out.
I don't know.
Yeah, he tries to get T.I. into the New York Yankees. He's got a great arm as a pitcher, and he's like, I want to be like Uncle you, Frank. I don't want to be a pitcher. I want to be like you. And then you got the standard obligatory, I don't want my youngest people to get involved in my life obligatory bullshit too, which is just like, it's so cliche, but it does happen.
Or look at how he treats his wife. Like, she buys him this gregarious coat that, like, do you know your husband why would you buy him this coat? But like, downfall
of everything, this fucking coat.
It's not. He blames the coat, and he lets Josh Brolin's character ruin the whole wedding night. He burns the coat right in front of her, like basically blaming her as if she bought those tickets right in the very front row, as if she made him shake the hand of every notorious gangster around him. Wow. He was going to be on the radar either way. The coat had fucking nothing to do with it. He just,
that's where I think this script shines for me in this. I don't want to be the guy that uses this word, but it's appropriate. But the juxtaposition of the way Frank interacts with his family and the way that Richie does. You've got Frank, who is Richie! You've got Frank, who is seemingly the perfect family man, but like a fucking evil murderer at work. And then you've got Richie, who does his job impeccably, like Serpico at work, and yet he's a fucking horrible family man. So this cop and criminal are the same Ouroboros thing. It's a little heavy-handed, but I think it works, especially for that scene. Whereas Frank starts to turn against his own family, Richie has the gall to stop and say to himself, I am a bad father. Go ahead and take the kids because I'm not worthy of it.
Worth mentioning that the dude's not a father. I mean, again, like, we're over the non-factual bits of the movie, but Richie Roberts he has no children. That never happened.
Thank you, Travis. By the way, why does he have to be a womanizer though? It just bothers me. He's like, hey, I fuck everybody and every girl looks at me. Why does it have to be like that? It's
moral character thing. You got to have some. Fuck
that. He's already a shitty father. It's enough. I don't know. That always bothers me about this movie. It's like, okay, great. You're everyone looks at you and they want to fuck you. Good for you. And this is really the final Russell Crowe before he became the different Russell Crowe that he is now. This is kind of the farewell to the old Russell Crowe.
He's back with Unhinged.
Dude,
he's not. That's not what I'm saying. So I think you know what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Did he gain some weight? Is that what you're saying? Did he had a weird auction where he like sold a skull and some other stuff? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Soul Brother.
Did we fail to point out the fact that this is the second team up of these legendary actors after Virtuosity? Six,
I never forget that,
dude.
Reportedly,
I watched it last year. Fucking dumb.
Reportedly, it has a lot to do with Denzel taking the role. Like, I guess he had been handed the role and then kind of walked away because this thing was in developmental hell for like 7 years. He came, like, it was going to go to Will Smith, and then he came back when he found out that
well, this is two straight Ridley Scott outings for Crowe too, because Body of Lies and this were back-to-back years, I believe.
They had done what's that? Very great year, a very good year.
That's three then. So that's three straight.
Yeah, they talked about this movie while making that that movie, which isn't a bad film actually. It's really low key
I'd like to
and
see that. Yeah.
it's not
A great year.
a very great year, a very good year.
Yeah, I
Sure,
mentioned
it's
it. I watched it in one of my quarantine viewing picks over
Oh,
the last
yeah,
year on the show,
yeah.
and I
It's
was
really
like,
not bad. It's kind of
okay.
dull.
Robin Hood,
it's very
terrible.
dull.
It's slow. It's very like.
Well, Body of Lies was 06, right?
I didn't see that one. I don't know.
With Leonardo DiCaprio, that was a
I
big.
did not see that.
I think it was kind of a bust for them. That was supposed to be a big
not see
movie.
that.
It's a
Yeah.
international
It was boring.
espionage movie. I did see it.
I was
'cause it
among the
same year as-
millions that didn't watch it.
Oh, well, same year as Blood Diamond. All these movies are bleeding together because in 06, 07, all these movies are happening. So it's a busy
Well, yeah,
time
man.
for Ridley Scott.
Dude, I'm sitting here thinking, who has the gravitas to play Frank Lucas besides the great Denzel Washington? I don't really know if I'd buy Will Smith in this role.
No,
Especially
hell
with
no.
These, like heroin scenes and all this shit. I'd come
Hell
Idris
no.
Elba. Idris Elba probably could have done it.
Yeah,
He could have.
But he wouldn't. But he would have been handed the role at that point in his career. And I think
Yeah.
Chiwetel Ejiofor also could have done it, but he also wouldn't have been
Yeah.
handed it.
I don't
at
know about
point in his
that.
career.
I don't know about that. I don't
I
know.
think
If,
Well, they're younger. They were both in their maybe early 20s
Yeah.
back then.
Well,
Chiwetel's a good actor, but I don't know if he could do what. I don't know if he can get that. I mean,
I
he
just
shows.
watched 12 Years a Slave again, so to me, like the guy
Oh
could
my
do fucking
God, he's
anything.
fucking
Oh,
incredible
right,
in that
but he
movie.
does an incredible job doing that. But
So
this
good.
role, the Frank Lucas role, is a hardcore motherfucker, a fucking violent, evil fucking son of a. He's not evil. He's just a man. But
He played
he's
Mordo.
got.
He's Baron Mordo. He can do hardcore son of a bitch.
All right, he took away a man's ability to walk, and that is intense. You're right.
No more
that
magic,
is-
baby. No more magic.
That's hardcore. I'll give you that. But yeah, so you're right. Denzel deserves all the praise. He's outstanding. I don't even know if he got nominated for this or not.
I don't know either.
Did you guys see that video that's going around right now? A viral video of Denzel Washington being interviewed by Jamie L. Foxx. And he's talking about the first time he was nominated for an Academy Award and how he was nominated along with Sean Connery, and Sean Connery got a 3-minute standing ovation when he came out to present some other reward. So he just got up to leave. He just left and stopped by the catering area on the way out and grabbed some food.
Oh,
My
nice.
God.
That sounds cool.
Oh, it's so funny.
No, that's fucking dumb as fuck. I will tell you this: I'm a Renaissance man, and so this deal, you got the.
It's un-American.
It's pretty easy to do. It's an
You just
easy.
missed Eric drooling all over himself like John Ortiz, by the way. Those that are watching, enjoy that.
So the Italian mafia is what
Yep.
it is, and then you've got Frank encroaching. You got an interesting dynamic going on here. They don't think
do.
a black man. Nobody thinks this is part of the movie we haven't talked about. Nobody thinks a black man could rise to power like he has in this era and on the scale that he has taken over the entire heroin trade. Which, true or false, that's what this movie presents, and that's what he's doing with Blue Magic. Blue Magic on sale now at your local street corner, and he is. I like that. I think it's an interesting topic, and the clear racism, the bigotry, and the almost unbelievability on the part of these other people who have been dominating this trade and underground crime for decades upon decades. They are at his whim. He starts setting the price.
Yeah, it's
and
just the
he's
working
the
for me
wholesale
now.
guy.
He
Yeah,
chops a cigar.
which is fucking great.
yeah.
That's a fresh take. That's pretty cool to see. You don't see that as much. So I was kind of. In fact, this was one of the first times I could really think about seeing it in a movie this big.
I will say, for all my gripes about the historical inaccuracy, I find it really interesting that you have this character that's like such a hard ass, such a badass, such like a no one fucks with me kind of character. And by the end of the movie, he's turned snitch. And very willingly, he needs glasses to do it. Apparently, for some reason, he's got to wear glasses when he's snitching. But it's very,
That's what they call a prescription eyeglass.
Hey!
So,
Great gift, Dad.
which is true. Frank Lucas did do that. So I did find it interesting, but it's like that they chose to include that bit because it's not complimentary and it seems kind of out of keeping with the character. Like you don't really like. I mean, he explains why he does it. It's like fuck them, they never cared about me. I'm going to reduce my sentence. Blah blah blah. But he goes pretty quickly from being like, "I'll buy you off. I'll fucking kill you. All right, I'll just work with you."
I think they downplay the anti-Semitic aspect of the Richie character.
Yeah.
You've got a huge opportunity with this police force that's probably all like, Irish Catholic or
They're all
whatever.
black,
And
apparently. In 1968, almost the entire police force is black. Did you notice that? I'm like,
I didn't notice that, but
I hope
this
it's
is
kind of I don't know how accurate that is.
yeah.
I hope it's true.
Well, you got a throwaway line, and I think if you're going to put beef up that Richie character, you could have delved into that a little bit more. Because
the ethnic slur that's
Right.
hurled at him, the response.
Oh, that government asshole. Yeah,
But you get to
that's
see
totally-
that government asshole get arrested later, so it's like, you're an anti-Semite, you get arrested. You fuck.
You get arrested. You get arrested. You
Everybody gets arrested. All the anti-Semites get arrested. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, I mean everything comes crumbling down, but this is a unique movie because it allows and it sets the tone for something you just don't see very often. So I'd like Frank Lucas, and I wish it was more real. Frankly, I wish this was more of a true story.
Yeah, I agree.
To think that Frank Lucas dominated the mafia in real life, it seems questionable.
And why not maybe instead make a movie about Nicky Barnes? Wouldn't that maybe make more sense?
It'd make more sense, but it's not something I would want to see. I said it during our Clockers episode. I said, good riddance to this idolization of these gangsters. They're murderers. They're despicable fucks. I think the less movies we get where they put these people on this pedestal and enshrine them with posters at, the fucking poster shop, it's out of control. And I think this was a nail coffin for that genre.
Well, I think you make a really good point, and this is in multiple interviews. Denzel Washington said why he chose the role. It wasn't just because Russell Crowe was in it. He said that he was really interested in following in the arc that Lucas's character had. That it wasn't glorifying crime, and that you get a clear sense that he's a broken man at the end who is like working, like collaborating with the government, blah blah blah. But you watch the movie and it's so much of an afterthought. You get 90% of the film that's like, here's the baddest of badasses and all time of all badasses. Yeah. And by the way, 10% of the time he was a snitch.
Right.
Wow. But Jay-Z made a whole album called American Gangster. So he loved this movie and he made a big album related to it. So he was very impressed by it.
Yep.
People love this movie. It's drawn to a lot of people. What do they like about it? What do you think people like about this movie?
It's very well shot. It looks really good. You have
that is not what people like about it.
Well, that's the start. That's the most basic thing. You have a brilliant director and very capable filmmaker and crew shooting really solid actors. Some of whom are again not getting enough to do, but still just a huge cadre of really, really talented actors, and a lot of them are doing like badass things, like shooting people down in the street or like walking around in pimp clothes, and so it looks cool, feels cool.
Yep.
Some violence thrown in there, but none of it is like you don't really get a sense that there's a lot of despite the fact that he does eventually go to prison, you don't really get a sense, I think, that there's a downside to being a criminal. It's definitely, it feels to me a lot more celebratory than anything else. I think that maybe the script that Washington saw that he signed on for, maybe that edit ended up a little shorter.
Well, that's not true though. He walks out, after it's over, and then hip hop is fully on scene, and
that shot is amazing.
He no longer knows the world that he used to know, but even though he didn't do prison for that long, he actually got out pretty early, then got busted for more drug charges in 1984, then he went back for another 7 years and got out in 1991.
Yeah, They talk about him serving 15 years. They don't mention that it's not consecutive because it's for two different fucking violations.
They couldn't even be honest about that. It's a simple fucking piece of information, you fucks. God damn it. People love this movie, Eric, because it's just like Scarface. It's the same reason it's not like Scarface, but it's the reason they like it. They look to it, the glitz, the glamour, fuck you.
It's very much a fuck you to both cops and to white society. And
I love that. I'm always down with that, by the way. So.
The other thing is you have two underdog stories with a cop that's not respected, who gains respect, like it or not, by his integrity. And you have this person who was going from a bodyguard to a major kingpin. People are always going to eat that shit up. One movie I thought about a lot during this was fucking Blow, and how much I think Blow is a piece of shit, because it's like watching an entire movie just from Frank's perspective without someone on his tail, so you can root for someone to take this guy out when you lose your sympathy for him.
I thought of Blow also. I also thought of Clockers. It's funny, we did Clockers recently, and Richard Price actually took a pass at the script, but I don't think that anything that he did actually ended up on screen. It was pretty early on in the process.
Oh my God!
What?
I did watch a movie the previous week that I didn't mention. Did I tell you guys I watched Shaft?
The original?
No, the 2000 version with Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
It was right after Clockers, and guess who did the scripts?
Richard Price.
Yeah, it was right after we did Clockers that week.
God.
And guess who stars in it, or is a co-star?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Mackay Pfeiffer. I was like, what
Mackay
the
Pfeiffer.
fuck? I didn't seek the movie out. I just had never watched it during the Christian Bale phase. He's in that movie. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Christian
I wish
Bale's
I'd
in that? I forget.
Oh my God, he's like the
Racist
main
white
villain.
guy.
It's weird.
So dumb.
funny. That's
It's
funny.
right after American Psycho, same year basically. So.
Wow.
Blow kind of sucks, or Blow fucking
fuck
sucks,
Blow.
says
Blow
Luke
is horrible.
Horowitz. Wow, that is.
Well, we did a whole episode on it
Stupid
already.
movie.
Yeah, if you don't like it, leave it. USA #1. I will tell you that this is a movie that has always been fun to me. It moved quickly. There's a lot of fun dialogue. I do quote a lot of this stuff. I can't even think of all the quotes right now. There's a lot of them, and people like this movie because it is quotable too, and that's another part of it.
There's a lot of great quotes and memorable lines. For me, there's not a lot of memorable scenes or real like set pieces. I think rather like 5-10 minute chunks. I sit there today and I'm thinking, well, what would I want to see again? Like I'm not that jazzed to return to it, even though it's clearly a well put together and precise picture.
So the scene that sticks out to me the most, like when I watched it once, and then whenever I thought about the movie, this is the scene I thought about where he gets up from breakfast and goes out in the middle of the street and shoots Idris Elba in the head, and then goes back to breakfast and says, "So where was I?"
Right.
But that scene, it just feels. I mean, I hate to use this word repeatedly, but there's a lot about this movie that feels a little derivative. This is the classic scene. Like there's so much to me that just feels like a little bit you're following the rules of similar gangster features.
Well,
now, I do think they're twisting it in a lot of their own ways, and I'm not wholly opposed to it. But I do think that they are kind of hitting some similar beats.
20%,
you guys. Yeah, no
20%.
That's great.
That's the thing. I mean, how do you keep this genre, and it is a subgenre of movies, fresh? I mean, what else are you going to do with a mob movie before people just start calling every mob movie a Franken film?
Well,
amalgams up every other one.
Not to just sit here and turn this into the Sopranos podcast, but partly what you do is you make
Mickey
the
Blue
character.
Eyes?
Partly what you do is you make the characters true. Like there's so many like little elements just constantly peppered, just meaningless bits that fill out the lives of the characters of Sopranos. It's just infused with like pathos and like reality. And I think that's
unfair though.
And I think that's what you do with the.
It's unfair. TV versus movie though. That's the thing.
Oh sure, you get so much more time to develop with Sopranos. Absolutely.
But I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I just think it's you just don't get the time, and that was a problem with this movie that we talked about. It's just there's too much going on, and to shove it all in. It's still a long movie, and it still works for me. It still moves. It still flows. But you cannot sit down and give these characters a more natural feel, a more legitimate to the streets feel, or whatever part of the world they're from in this film, because there's just not enough screen time. There's too many worlds going on here. Too many cooks.
Yeah. There's always some other cameo to get to. There's someone other to get to. Aaron Worley also says Blow blows.
Looks like everyone's obsessed with Blow now. We've totally lost everybody on this movie.
Not our most listened to episode either. So
really?
It's got decent listening, but
that's too bad. I thought people loved Johnny Depp. Oh, he's not cool anymore though. He's been 86. Never mind.
I still like him. Oh, in other Johnny Depp news, they're going to have a libel case in America after all.
Awesome, that's great. Yeah. Moriarty too.
Mordecai too. I certainly hope so.
Mordecai too. I said Moriarty. I was like, Drake, you got to think of the dairy farmers.
I think about them, so they think about me.
God.
Anton Arenko. Hey, Anton, how you doing? Gotti was a terrible. Sorry, Gotti was a terrible representation in the subgenre. Have you guys seen it?
Well,
yeah, it's fucking trash.
Are we talking Armand Asante? Or
are you talking the HBO film with?
That's what he's talking.
Armand Asante and John Forsythe. William Forsythe.
Yeah.
Not John Forsythe.
Spaghetti Dick.
Yeah. Spaghetti Dick. Flat top Spaghetti Dick, who plays Sammy the Bull Gravano. Yeah.
Flat top Spaghetti Dick, also known as William Forsythe.
Is that a Ben and Jerry's flavor?
I've seen that movie. I saw it on HBO when it came out back in the day. I was kind of excited about it. They really pushed Gotti. I'm like, who's Gotti? Because I didn't really know as a teenager. But I think now it doesn't really hold up. But maybe we'll bring it to the table someday, Anton. It's a good question. Armand Asante is a treasured actor. Oh, Travolta? Oh, the Travolta one that came out. That's right. Oh my
I
God!
didn't catch that one at all. Definitely not.
No one here saw that movie, right, Eric?
No one would ever see
Yeah.
that movie.
I'd have to
Oh
be
man.
super drunk.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree with Travis, Anton. I'd have to be super fucked up to sit. Although I would be possibly interested in three of us sitting down in person to watch Gotti to make fun of it. That might be fun,
Yeah,
actually.
we'll live stream
We all end
Yeah.
up
all
liking
John
it.
Travolta's recent work.
Yeah, I mean,
Fan
between
or
that and the
whatever.
Fred Durst directed film, I mean,
Yeah,
he's
Hey,
on
I
tough
like
times,
that one.
but-
I like that one.
Fred Durst! Oh my God, you fuck. Anything else in this movie, guys, before we close it out? Because we did start a lot earlier. We had a very light quarantine viewing picks.
You've got Harris Savides, man, the late great, does some of his best work. That cinematography is so rich. Right from that first, remember that first scene when Frank and Buppy are outside the drugstore and all that snow? You can literally see every snowflake flying around. Cinematography is beautiful.
It's very, very beautifully shot. On a personal note, I've had these two songs stuck in my head for months. I've had Across 110th Street and just that line though, right? Because I don't know the words well enough. So just walk around Across 110th Street. I just gotten it out of my head, but of course that song's in the movie like twice, I think, or at least.
Well, that's important about the selection, because the next line is pushers won't let the junkie go free. And
Right.
we always talk all the time about if the product's there, people
Right.
are going to buy it.
And he says he controls from 110th Street to like I think 150th or something. So it's very, very literal. But and also Only the Lonely. I've had that song stuck in my head for like months. So like watching this movie, I'm like fuck, never getting them out.
Yeah. Oh, it's like he's like a third brother of five, just trying to survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
It's
go. Only the
It's a
Lonely with
classic,
John
so.
Candy, though, not a good movie.
Oh,
Oh,
I
God.
disagree thoroughly. I really like
not
that
very
movie quite a
good.
bit. I'm disagreeing completely.
Nobody seems to like Gotti, by the way.
I've watched it recently and I really loved it.
John Candy's a treasure. He's always gonna be a treasure, and I think there needs to be a recognition and maybe a reimagining of a lot of John Candy movies
Delirious?
that
I don't
we've been
know.
shit on a
I watched
lot.
that recently also and
I just-
still like that one too.
Who's Harry Crumb? I just don't.
The bartender
With Eugene
bought
Levy?
cold beer.
Armed and Dangerous.
Armand
Yeah.
Dangerous is
Armed and
classic.
Dangerous?
With Schitt's Creek being
Uh-huh.
big, I bet that movie is much more. It'd be much more popular now. So
There's talk about like some uncomfortable contemporary like homophobia and that kind of stuff. There's some really awkward moments in Armed and Dangerous, but it's good. It's still fun.
Armed and Dangerous.
Back when every 80s movie got its very own song.
You're damn right it did. They knew how to do music and themes back then, man. It was so wonderful.
What's the name of this
Absolutely.
movie? All right, we'll sing a song about it.
Look at this from a miles away. Chad Gibbons checking in.
Oh, okay.
Every single John Candy movie that Eric is mentioning is great.
Yes,
So there you go, Eric.
agreed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Canadian Bacon, not so great.
Wagons
Thank
East?
you. Okay, thank you.
Give it that.
JFK?
Wagons East, also not that great.
That's fine. See,
But
thank you for being
other than
honest.
those two, I'd say pretty much every other film, and of course JFK is garbage.
Can you quote it?
You
Mike?
out of your mind? You was crazy, your mama. All right.
His performance is fucking great. In that.
It is. It
One of
is.
his best
JFK's trash. Good performance. But we all know Travis doesn't like Oliver Stone
I
either,
don't,
so that's
I don't.
true.
We've
But
been
that
to
movie, again, just like this movie, actually, JFK and this movie have a lot in common in terms of their ridiculous
cast.
stating.
Well, what was
reality.
the what's
Oh,
the
yeah,
best impression
completely
of the
inaccurate.
so far? Is it Mike Govier's Armand Asante, my Ted Levine, or Mike Govier's John Candy and JFK? Hit us up, cinema9pro.pod.gmail.
Whatever the fuck it is. Proton.
Cinema9pod at protonmail.com. Come on, you know what you're doing. All right, well, let's call it up. Let's put a ringer.
Good catch there.
put a-
Let's wrap this here up. Let's wrap up this alpaca rug. It's $25,000 already. Let's blot it away.
Blot it.
Blah it away, Travis. Take it
Jan
away.
says Ted Levine was the best impersonation. I'm inclined to agree with him. That was pretty fun.
That's true.
All right, me first in the Gimme Gimmies. Okay. So like I said, I was a little underwhelmed when I first watched this movie. When Mike announced it, I was like, "What's the running time on this thing?" Well, I guess I'm getting paid back for Cloud Atlas.
There it is. Thank you, Travis.
Wow.
So I watched it and I definitely enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to based on my first viewing. I do feel a little bit like, again, it didn't take much research here. It's to learn how horrifically inaccurate it is. What's kind of left a bad taste in my mouth a little bit. If they hadn't pulled that fucking shenanigan, I probably would have been a little bit more understandable. But I just kind of like all the things I kind of was like, oh, I can live with that. I was kind of like, oh, well, then why?
Yep.
I'm gonna put this in that rare memento class, and that if you've never seen this movie, you're not listening at this point. But if you've never seen this movie, this is a movie worth watching because it's well made, and it's a lot of great actors doing some good work. But I don't think that it's one that deserves or really needs to be revisited. I mean, like I said, it's a little bit better than I remember, but I don't really feel like I was missing anything either. I'm not gonna watch it again anytime soon. So I'm gonna say it doesn't really hold up.
Oh
my gosh.
Why don't you go next? Wait, I'll go next. So, American Gangster is a film that is fast-paced. It moves quickly. It's got a billion different parts. If you like intrigue, if you could just forget all the bullshit about the true story stuff, just forget it, which is hard to do because they've really shoved it down your throat, and it's kind of grown since then too about this. Frank Lucas got a lot of run from this movie.
He made almost $1 million almost from it. Almost $1 million just for selling the rights to the story.
He made $1 million. Yes, you're right. But he's dead now, and he's left us in charge. And I got to tell you, I think it's a fun movie. Frank Lucas is dead.
Is he really?
Oh,
yeah, he died in 2019.
2019,
fresh.
Okay.
88 years, though. He gave it a great run. No complaints. That's a long run. How much of that was in prison? Not as much as you'd think.
14
but based on his
not
exploits.
Enough.
Yeah, not as much as you might think. But I just think it's got a lot of great characters, and I like characters, and I want to be entertained. So I'm going to say it holds up because it's entertaining and it moves quickly for being a long movie. And I'm always left wanting like a little bit more. I'm like, oh man, let's get the story going. Let's keep this story going somewhere else. If you just don't worry about the historical reality, the truths that are trying to be created as fact here in this film. It's all bullshit. It's not real, but it's good entertainment. So if you know that, and you're hearing me say that, then it holds up. It does. All right.
Well, we'd be remiss to not at least try to talk a little bit about the legendary Ridley Scott. And he's, especially since maybe Black Hawk Down, he's been really hit or miss for me. I think this is clearly the best Ridley Scott film since 2001.
Prometheus.
That's trash.
I'm also laughing, not to interrupt, I'm sorry, but I was so sure that you're going to say, we got to talk about the legendary John Hawkes because we didn't mention him at all. I'm like, yes, of course, John Hawkes. But,
I thought you mentioned him, so we at least got him on the record.
No, we didn't. But,
so true.
Ridley.
But I don't have that much to say anyway, just because the past 20 years have been unacceptable. But, I love Ridley Scott. And we're talking about a filmmaker who, in this film especially, he's basically trying to do the Sidney Lumet, Friedkin, French Connection story, your 70s crime story. And this is a filmmaker who came right after literally that generation of filmmakers who completely twisted the tables and he's just music video commercial filmmaker. I give him credit for his effort here. He makes a movie that's entertaining. So we talk about the bathroom test. Did I hit pause when I went to the bathroom? Absolutely. All 3 times. So I didn't want to miss anything. So if you can say that, I think that's saying a lot. You've got a fucking great performance by Josh Brolin, who in 2007 came out of nowhere. We're like that fucking the dude from Thrashing, he's incredible, and he's going up against these heavy hitters like he's been in the game all that time. So yeah, you can't downplay that. And the script is solid, man. You talk about how drugs are running the country in the early 70s. And I think he says specifically that you stop bringing dope in and 100,000 people are out of a job. So it's this cyclical machine in America. And I don't know if they get into it enough for this film, but I like what they're playing with here. And, they flirt a little bit with how big of a fucking joke the Narcotics Bureau is. You had fucking Elvis, an honorary deputy, one of the biggest drug addicts in the entertainment industry. So you've got stuff like this that keeps me interested. I find the movie really entertaining and fun to watch, even if it's got tired cliches from start to finish. It holds up for me.
Everything relates to Sopranos because there's a guy in Sopranos who dies on the toilet.
Tired
Just like
cliches, it holds up for me.
Yes.
Yeah, tired cliches. It still holds up.
That's a testament to the movie.
No, yeah,
It
you're right,
is.
you're right.
It's entertaining, man.
Yeah, I kind of figured I'd be in the minority in this one. It's all good.
That's fine. Yeah. Apparently
But
things.
join us next week. Come on.
We got a note from Chad Gibbons. Facebook Live is playing the
We all
podcast.
sound like Ted Levine.
I hope this is just for you, Chad, because he's saying that it's playing us at like 3/4 speed, and we all sound
Like
we're all
Ukraine internet.
What
What the hell's going on over there?
I'd podcast me. I'd
Here,
podcast
holds
me so
up.
hard.
Oh, you're counting it out here. Are you crazy? Yeah, there it is. It's fun.
Put the
He
DVD
likes it,
in the
so-
basket.
He likes it, and Aaron says Canadian bacon is absurd. So there it is. American Gangster holds up 2-1. Interesting film. It's got a lot going on. I like how you hit
None
on
of
some
it
of those
actually
points.
happened. We've been over that.
Yeah, but I'm already regretting it. I feel like we got too caught up in it now. Even though the show's not even over, I
Maybe.
regret that maybe we got a little, and I'm totally responsible
Yeah.
for that too, but
Caught up in
Yeah.
the fact that it's the historical
Yeah,
accurate.
because-
we do need to set that aside. I mean, like it's just a movie.
no, because what he said is true. The drug reality is all true. The cyclical nature of it and the repetitive routine over and over again, the methods and how they go through governments that fail and governments that take advantage of other countries. Drugs flow in freely through here, and there's never going to stop. And then they have a hypocritical stance in public while they do other bullshit private. You're right, Eric. All that's we could have talked about that more. I got too caught up in the goddamn historical. They should have just not done that, you assholes.
It would have been better had they, I mean, like it would have been better.
Yeah.
It would have been better, yeah. Anyways, hey, every show's a learning experience for me. I always learn something and try to get better. So there you go, folks. American Gangster, 2007 film directed by Ridley Scott, starring Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe, and a big host of other people. Enjoy it, and don't forget the dairy farmers. It's very important. Don't forget the dairy farmers, folks. Next week, we got Aaron Worley on the show. He's going to be live and uncensored and in our face. He's an intense dude. He doesn't fuck around. Takes no prisoners attitude. He might yell at somebody on this show. It's very possible. However, he has chosen his film. Next week's movie. Aaron, are you live? Do you want to type it in the live chat to reveal what next week's movie will be?
Yeah, if you're with us, if you're with us, move the little thingy to the yes side of the Ouija board.
Yeah. Yeah, you're controlling the Ouija board, Aaron. What will be next week's?
Planchette, that's what it's called.
Does it hold up? Because I'm looking forward to finding out. Aaron knows as much about movies as a lot of people. He's a big movie fan.
Oh, yeah.
Although he's not
Very
good with
knowledgeable.
directors. He doesn't know directors at all. So he never knows who's
He's really,
controlling them.
really great with 80s trash horror. I mean, maybe the most knowledgeable about 80s trash horror of anyone I know. Really good at that stuff.
He is. I would never, ever question that. He's fantastic at that. There it is. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah,
Oh
Brotherhood
my
of
God.
the Wolf. I have thought about using this movie a
Wow.
few times myself. I'm glad that it's been chosen.
What the fuck? Kind of in shock right now.
La Loupe something. I forget what it's. La Loupe de Fraterne something.
Brotherhood of
never-
the Wolf.
You never heard of
Never
this? It's
seen
a
this.
French film with Mark Dacascos and Vincent. Oh, what's not? I always forget his name. Not Kartheiser. Anyways, the French Vincent, who's in all of the fucking. Anyway, he's in Eastern Promises. You guys with me on this?
Cassell?
Oh, yeah. He's
Yeah,
in
Cassell,
Ocean's 12.
Yeah, Vincent Cassell. So it's Vincent Cassell,
Brotherhood
Mark
of the Wolf.
Dacascos, and some Frenchman who I'm not sure. Yeah, it was a pretty big deal when it came out. Good French movie, or I thought it was a good French movie then. We'll see if I think so next week.
Ooh.
It's
Okay,
pretty
way to-
wild. It's a pretty wild film.
I think you're already telling your hand, but we'll find out.
Well, I mean, I can already tell you. Like, I liked it then. I don't know if
I've never seen this movie. I've heard about it. I've never seen the film. So, yeah, I'm excited.
All right.
All right. People seem to like it. Positive returns on this. Next week, we'll do Brotherhood of the Wolf live with Aaron Worley. And don't forget to follow us everywhere. And it's not, you typed it wrong. We already said Cassell, not cassette. So,
Cassette tapes.
of course we do. It's an
Cassette tape
E, though.
Vincent
Vincent
cassette
cassette tape. Hector cassette tape.
From Detroit.
Yes. So next week we'll do it live. Brotherhood of the Wolf. You want to watch it? Watch it before we do the show next week, Thursday. We always go on
streaming?
live about anywhere between. Is it streaming? Yeah, who knows? I'm sure we'll find it between 7 and 7:15 p.m. Thursday evenings. We're here for you. We love movies. We love doing the show. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your August week, and I will see you soon. Right?
Yeah, I'm looking up to see if it's streaming anywhere.
Is this film available?